Now in this set of video tutorial, let us learn another very useful function from Excel, that is pivot tables. Pivot tables essentially are found in the insert tab and on the left hand side. The functionality of pivot table can be best explained by actually making a pivot table and letting you understand. Pivot tables are generally helpful when we want to really organize a large set of data or do an analysis on large set of data, like the one which we have as of now for XYZ company. So let's apply pivot table on this data and see how it makes sense. So first and foremost is select the data on which you want to make a pivot table and go to insert, and under the pivot table option go to pivot. Once you do that, you will see a dialog box. It asks you for two things for confirmation: select a table or a range. So since I have already selected this table, that's okay. You can also have a different or external data source if data is not inside this worksheet. And another thing that you can do is choose where you want the pivot report to be placed. Should it be in the existing worksheet or in the new worksheet? So let me just keep it as it is, and what will happen is that a new worksheet opens up. If it was in the existing worksheet, the pivot table would have had opened in sheet 1 itself. So now this pivot table is available in sheet 9. So once you see this sheet 9, which gives you a layout something like this, on the right hand side you may see pivot table, field lists, etc. Don't be scared, because this is just a layout and it is very simple to use. Now imagine that you are drawing a table. So table will have a header, table will have a left hand column in terms of index. So just look at these set of labelings on the right hand corner. There is a row label, there is a column label, and the values that you want to show, and there's something called report filters. I will show you all of these or the meaning of these one by one by giving you an example. Let's say if we want to actually make a report, let's say we want a department wise salary distribution. Okay, we want department wise salary distribution, and we can actually do it using a pivot table. So as you can see, the right hand side becomes invisible if I click outside this table, like the one when I was typing department wise salary distribution, but it comes back when I click here in this area. So let's click here in this area and we find that the field lists or the other things are visible here now. Now let's say I want a department wise salary distribution. So one field which is important is department, and the other field that is important is, let's say, the percentage of total annual salary which we want. So on the rows from 4, 5, 6, 7 likewise, I want departments to be distributed. So what I will do is I will select this, and the moment I do that, as you can see, it automatically gets populated under the row section. These are known as row labels. Okay, now what do I want under the column label? Under the column label would be these. So under the column label, actually I don't want anything because I just want the values respective to the percentage of total annual salary. So those who are working in finance, sum total their annual salaries and give it to me. So as you can see, there is another column which is known as sum total. This is a summation sign. So what you will need to do is just click here and drag and drop to the summation sign like this, and just leave it, and you will find that the percentage of total annual salary is visible here. Now that we have understood the department wise percentage annual salaries, let us now probably define this analysis into further details. Let us see how this distribution is on the basis of genders. So say for example, within each department, finance, under male and female, how this would really work. So I can actually go ahead and choose gender, and what you need to do here is if you click here gender, you'll find that within finance there are two subcategories that are introduced, female and male, and their bifurcation is also mentioned. the sum total of these two is mentioned above, which is in bold. So within each department, as you can see, finance, IT, marketing and support, all of them have these set of bifurcations. So this is another way of looking at the distribution. One thing which is very important here is something called a report filter, as you can see on the top. So one way which we have done is the gender wise distribution among departments. We can also look at using report filters to come to the same objective. So what we will do here is, let's say I pull this or drag this gender from this field to the report here. So what happens now on the left hand side is that there is another column which gets introduced called gender, and under which you can see there's a drop down. The drop down mentions all. All means male and female both included. So the result for all is essentially provided here. Let's say if we choose only one, let's say female, so the distribution would be limited to only female employees and their salaries. Likewise, if I want to have a report on the basis of only male, as you can see, the report will be only on the basis of male itself. So, and if I consider all of them, the report will be considering all employees from the company. So this is how you can kind of use report filters. Now another thing that you must know here is that this table, when you are doing things here, changes dynamically. So you may want to save this table so that you can use this in your final reports or presentations. For doing that, you can select these rows and columns and just copy this and paste as values, so that your table is saved. So this is a table which will not change. This is pasted as values. Now tomorrow, let's say I just want to generate only a report on the basis of male. I can separately save this report and paste it as values. So this report corresponds to only male employees, and this report corresponds to all employees. So you may generate different kinds of reports and save it for your usage. Now let us try another kind of a report. Let's say I don't want a report like the one which we have just created. Let me go back and not select any, so that it goes back to the pivot table. Now let us try to generate another set of report. So for the time being, I'll just uncheck department and uncheck the percentage salary, so that the original report is not included. Now the report which I want to generate here is that I want to understand how the department wise gender distribution is. So earlier what we have seen is department wise salary distribution. Now I want to understand department wise gender distribution. Okay, so this is what my objective is, and for this what we require is, on the left hand side row would be obviously department, and what I also want is the gender. So finance, male, female, so on and so forth, and I want the count of male and female under each subheading. So for counting that, what we will have to do is, please note, I'm just pulling gender again and dragging and dropping it here. So the moment I drag and drop here, what it does is, under each category the male and female gets counted and are distributed in the format of this kind of a table. So it is very easy to now kind of understand that in, let's say, IT only one female works, however in, let's say, in support there are two females. So likewise, you can have different kinds of analysis which you may like to do on that set of data which you have. One thing which I really want to point out here is that since at this stage we wanted the number of males and females to be counted, suppose you wanted to count the monthly salary or the annual salary, that also you could have done, but in order to count that, you would have used another function which is the sum total of the salaries. So there are different kinds of functions which are available: max, min, product, average, count, sum. So let's say I wanted to calculate how much the salary of a finance employee is. So you can also do that. Another important thing in pivot table is this column here on the right hand side, right hand bottom corner, the count of gender where we have calculated as of now. Let's say we wanted to calculate the summation of the salaries under individual departments and within genders. For example, what would be the salary of all females under the finance department? If that was the let's say the condition we wanted to explore, the count function would have been redundant. So we would have used a summation function, and the summation function on the annual salaries. So let me just drag and drop it here so that the summation sign or the summation box is vacant, and let me drag and drop the annual salary within this box, and you can see that the sum sign is automatically identified. As Excel being one of the intelligent tool, it automatically identifies that salaries has to be sum total. However, let's say you wanted to change the automatic tool used by Excel, you could have actually used this drop down, and you can change the value settings from here. So let's say if you wanted to change the value field settings to, let's say, an average, so you could have also done that, or maximum or minimum of product or count. You could have changed these from this option as such. So let's say if we wanted to use average, we can just select that and click OK. So this is how the things would change, and the display can be used for different kinds of options within the pivot table.